Okay, let's dive into this. We've got this collection of sources, and they center on, well, a disgraced knight
Yeah.
and what looks like a pretty desperate scheme.
Yeah, on the surface, you might think it's this, romantic rescue mission, tragic hero sort of thing.
Right, but when you actually dig into it, look at who's funding it, who he's working with, the real goal. It's something much darker, a real masterclass in political maneuvering and, frankly, moral collapse.
Exactly. That's what we're exploring today, the world surrounding Davair Blacksword, the Black Sword. And this isn't about the usual heroes, the ones in the shining armor.
This is happening far away from all that. In the shadows, where real power shifts happen,
Yeah.
often driven by pure ambition.
And the backdrop for all this, it's crucial. We're talking about Náumanth.
Okay, so paint the picture. Where and when are we?
We're in the year 499 of the High King's calendar. Náumanth sits west of Daconia. It used to be something grander, the Kingdom of the Union.
Used to be. What's it like now?
Now, it's bleak. Really rugged landscape, think high plateaus, decaying old forts looking down over these boggy valleys. It's basically a former borderland that's fallen into ruin.
So, rundown, empty. What's its function then?
Well, it doesn't have many resources left, but its location is key. It's right there between Daconia, Lake Dovais, Ryden's forests. So it's become this notorious hub for illicit trade. Smuggling, basically. A necessary evil for hostile parties who need to deal with each other discreetly.
Got it. A shady crossroads. And you mentioned a settlement?
Just one left, really. Avíla. And the sources, they don't mince words. They call it a den of vice and lawlessness.
Charming. And that's where our disgraced knight Davair turns up.
That's where he makes his return, yeah. Looking for people to help him with his grand plan.
Which immediately brings us to the kind of people available in a place like Avíla.
Exactly. We need to talk about the niemestri. You can't really grasp who Davair is hiring or the whole situation without understanding them and the Tarosi theology that's dominant there.
Okay, Tarosi theology. What's the core idea?
It's like a spiritual ranking system for people. The belief is the All-Father Taros made these different noble castes, sort of defined by materials. You've got farmers as clay, artisans and traders are copper or silver.
Down the nobles.
The nobles, the defenders, the Kilniari, and then the spiritual guides, the ventinari, they're seen as crystal.
So a pretty rigid hierarchy. Where do the niemestri fit in? Or not fit in? Not fit in.
That's the thing. They're the lowest, the absolute bottom. But it's not about poverty in the usual sense. The theology defines them as people, men and women who've fallen from any caste because they've been corrupted.
Corrupted by?
By Rurak, the Dark Lord.
Yeah.
So their degradation isn't just material, it's seen as fundamentally spiritual, a state of being.
And what does that look like? How are they described?
The sources are very specific. Idleness, total selfishness, indulgence in, well, everything. Living in filth, vice, and a key trait is betrayal. Betraying others with no thought for the consequences, no foresight at all.
Wow, that's quite the definition. And how are they viewed by others, theologically speaking?
The official line is pretty chilling. Charity towards the niemestri. Pointless. The idea is that any kindness just multiplies their kind.
Oof. So Avíla, this den of vice, is basically niemestri central.
It embodies it, yeah. Known for constant drunkenness, gambling, even things like rat-fighting pits, and of course those thriving smuggling networks we mentioned.
Right, so that's the recruitment pool Davair's tapping into. Let's talk about him then. Davair Blacksword, the Black Sword. Why is he disgraced?
He was banished. 7 years ago, King Raphael III kicked him out. The official reason, obsessive pursuit of Queen Chrylis.
Okay, obsessive pursuit. Sounds dramatic. So he comes back now. What's his story?
He frames it as a noble quest. He says he's Chrylis' sworn protector, He's here to rescue her and her son, the young King Gorion. They're being held captive in Cressmere.
And the plan is to get them out and deliver them safely to her brother, Duke Danther.
That's the stated mission, yes.
But you said the sources suggest something else.
Yeah, the undercurrent is all wounded pride.
Mm-hmm.
Delusional idealism, maybe? He seems less driven by actual love for Chrylis and more by this burning resentment. He sees himself as this tragic figure, this misunderstood hero.
So the return isn't really about her, it's about him proving himself.
Exactly. It's about forcing the world to finally recognize his imagined greatness, as one source puts it. It feels like an act of validation wrapped up in the language of rescue.
Okay, so this guy, full of wounded pride and delusion, walks into Avíla. Who does he meet?
He goes straight to a key underworld figure named Mágat. and Maga recognizes him immediately. Their conversation, it really throws Davir's disconnect from this world into sharp relief.
How so? Is there history there?
Oh, yeah. Maga makes it clear he's owed coin, but also trust from some disastrous adventure 7 years back, an adventure involving Davair and someone called a mire.
And Maga's not happy about it.
Not at all. He basically threatens to pull Davair's teeth out and make a necklace if he doesn't pay up. It's raw.
So how does Davair handle that?
He tries to buy his way back in, slides a purse of gold across the barrel. Presumably they're meeting somewhere rough to settle that old debt.
Just like that.
Well, Mogget's not easily bought. He takes the first purse, sure, but then he demands another one, right away.
For what?
For the men lost last time. He says, 20 good Náumanthi men died for you and your sweet companion last time. So Davair isn't just paying for the new help he wants, he's paying reparations for the past screw-up.
Wow. Okay, so what exactly does Davair need from Mogget this time?
He needs men. 200 of them.
Yeah.
And not just bodies, seasoned fighters, equipped.
Equipped how?
Armor, specifically chainmail. Weapons, too. Pikes, swords, crossbows. That's a massive ask in a place like Náumanth where resources are scarce.
200 armed men. Mogget must have realized this wasn't just a simple snatch-and-grab rescue.
Absolutely. He points out 200 men aren't enough to storm Crezmere Castle, but Davair clarifies he also needs something else.
What's that?
Letters of recommendation and names? Basically, he needs forged documents from a skilled scribe.
Ah, so it's infiltration, not a direct assault.
Exactly. And that's when Mogget sees the potential for a much bigger score. He smells treasure. He asks Davair straight up if the plan involves plundering the vaults of the Castle of Songs.
The treasury. Okay, now it's getting interesting. What does Davair say?
He needs Mogget, so despite his own doubts, the source says doubts gnawed at his heart. He agrees to Mogget's terms, including a share of any loot.
And how does he seal this deal with a threatening underworld figure?
This is the crazy part. He swears an oath. Upon the Allfather's name, he swears their cause is just.
He swears a holy oath while hiring criminals funded by who knows what to potentially rob a castle, all based on his own delusion. The irony is thick.
It's staggering, and it perfectly sets up the next stage, how Mogget actually pulls together the resources. It shows you the depths of corruption needed to fuel even this seemingly noble, if misguided, quest.
Okay, so Mogget agrees. How does he get 200 equipped men and forgeries in Náumanth?
He brings in his network, his family, essentially. It starts with Thola. The source calls her his wife. It notes she earns her keep partly through selling mead, partly through men's company.
Okay, and she has sons.
2 sons, Skristo and Brolin. They're key to the operation.
What do they do?
Skristo, known as the Pig Strangler, nice nickname, huh? He runs with a character named Xerxes Mogan.
Xerxes Mogan. Doesn't sound friendly.
Far from it. He's a disgraced soldier. Used to be with Roland Bloodhorn's army, but he apparently escaped execution after violating a captive during the siege of Tassi.
Good grief. So that's the kind of seasoned veteran Davair is getting. Ex-soldiers who are wanted criminals.
Some of them, yes. That's the quality of leadership forming under Davair. The engine, the part that funds all this and connects back to Crezmere itself, is the other son, Brolin.
Brolin, what's his story?
He's smarter, operates differently. He lives in Crezmere, the target city. His cover is respectable. He poses as a secretary to some artisans.
And his real job?
Smuggling. His legitimate shipments are barrels of stale milk and beer, apparently coming from Náumanth. He has forged passage permits to move them.
Stale milk and beer. Doesn't sound very profitable. What's the catch?
The catch is prolific. The sources reveal what's actually hidden inside those barrels under the spoiled liquids.
What?
Children, orphaned children breathing through straws stuck through the barrel lids.
Oh my God, what happens to them?
They're being smuggled for sale, specifically to wicked Amatinieri of Chrysalis who delighted in corrupting the innocent.
Wait, just hold on. The Amatinieri, that's the artisan trader caste?
Yes.
So the knight on a noble quest to rescue a queen and her child. His entire operation, the men, the armor, it's being paid for by child trafficking children to be corrupted.
That's exactly what the sources indicate. That's the financial bedrock of this heroic mission. The moral bankruptcy is just absolute, and it's all happening under the guise of Davair's righteous cause.
It connects back to the niemestri too, doesn't it? The people dismissed as spiritually worthless.
Precisely. They are the workforce, the smugglers, the thugs Davair hires. They're drawn from this underclass. Disposable, desperate, motivated by short-term gain and vice, which ironically makes them the perfect, untraceable pawns for a much larger, more sophisticated conspiracy.
And Brolin's crimes don't stop there, do they?
No! He's also found a way to steal directly from the crown. He falsifies records, soldiers' deaths, the identities of widows, basically creating ghost pensioners to siphon off silver and copper.
Where does that stolen money go?
It goes to fund Xerxes Mogan and his band of highwaymen, the same highwaymen who are going to be part of Davir's force.
So let's recap the funding. Child trafficking, grand fraud against the crown, all funneling money towards equipping Davir's 200 men for his rescue.
Theft, fraud, trafficking, organized violence, all to pay for some chainmail and pikes. It's grim.
Okay, so the pieces are coming together. Xerxes Mogan and his highwaymen join Davir's plot. There's another player involved, right? Cothlayre.
Yes, Davir's companion, Cothlayre. He seems much more aware, much more cynical than Davair. He's immediately suspicious.
What does he do?
He sends his own man, Tughor, to spy on Xerxes Mogan. Cothlayre clearly senses there's more going on here than Davair understands or admits.
And was he right?
Oh, absolutely. Years later, Cothlayre apparently disclosed what was really happening. He admitted he met secretly with Xerxes Mogan.
What was discussed?
He laid out the real plan. They weren't working for Davair. Not really. They were working for Moran II.
Moran II. So this isn't about Duke Danthair or rescuing Crelis at all.
Not the primary goal, no. The actual objective, orchestrate the fall of Cresmere, and more than that, ignite a civil war within the kingdom.
How? What was the mechanism?
Timing was critical. The plan was set for the last day of Ombris, that's the 8th month. On that day, they would deliberately cause chaos, a big disturbance in Cresmere.
And the purpose of the chaos?
The frame-up. It was designed to look like the Raphaelids Queen Crelis's faction, the one Davair thinks he's supporting, were attempting a coup against the ruling Rolanid faction.
So they'd make it look like Davir's rescue was actually a power grab by the Queen supporters.
Exactly. Delivering King Gorion to Duke Danthair would be twisted into an act of rebellion, designed specifically to trigger infighting, a civil war. And who benefits from that chaos? Moran II.
My God. So Davair, he's just a pawn.
Worse than a pawn, he's the perfect fool, the necessary distraction, the public face of the failed coup. He's the scapegoat, designed to take the fall.
Is there proof of that cynicism?
Cothlayre himself apparently said it. There's a quote attributed to him, mocking Davair, something like, "They say a wheel fell on his head. Now he fancies himself a knight."
Ouch.
It gets worse. He supposedly finished with, "Make a village idiot your leader and dress him in armor, and it's his neck that will be snared when the time comes."
Wow. That just lays it bare. Davair isn't a hero, isn't even a tragic figure in their eyes. He's a tool, a liability being deliberately set up.
Completely unaware he's the centerpiece of this incredibly sophisticated plot by Moran II.
So how does this plot unfold on the ground? The infiltration.
It goes smoothly, apparently. Davair recruits the highwaymen, some men from Ryden, but crucially not experienced veterans who might ask too many questions. They slip into Cresmere. Small groups over the spring and summer of 499 HKC.
And Cothlayre, what's his move?
Cothlayre plays a blinder. He gets himself inside the Rolanid command structure, poses as a loyal commander. Then, in a brilliant move, he uncovers a spy who's actually working for Moran II.
A double bluff, exposing a real spy to prove his own loyalty.
Exactly. It completely wins the trust of the castle commander, Tarloir, and the result.
What happens?
Cothlayre gets appointed lieutenant, in charge of 80 crossbowmen, and guess what they're guarding?
Let me guess. The Castle of Songs. The treasury.
The very same vaults Mogget wanted a piece of. Cothlayre is now perfectly positioned inside, controlling access to the target, waiting for the signal.
Okay, so Cothlayre's in position. The plan is set for the end of Ombris. What's Davair doing?
He's meant to be lying low, waiting. But he gets impatient, or maybe suspicious. He announces he's riding south, supposedly to Dovace to consult with Duke Danthair.
But he doesn't go south, does he?
No. The sources are clear. He rides east, straight towards Cresmere. He arrives, along with Tughor, Cothlayre's spy, on the 20th day of Ombris, 10 days before the planned coup.
10 days early, and there's one more twist, isn't there? With Mogget.
Yes. Mogget, back in Náumanth, gets paranoid. He probably suspects Davair and Cothlayre are planning to cut him out of the potential loot from the Castle of Songs. He doesn't trust anyone.
So what does he do?
He sends his own riders out, their mission. To find Davair on the road and kill him, eliminate the liability, and maybe grab whatever coin Davair has left.
So Davair's riding towards Cresmere, potentially into Cothlayre's trap, while also being hunted by Mogget's assassins from behind. He's caught between layers of betrayal.
Completely. It's a perfect storm of cynicism closing in on him.
Okay, let's pull this all together then. We started with a disgraced knight seemingly on a romantic rescue mission.
Yeah, Davair, driven by his own delusions of grandeur.
But he ends up leading this coalition, unknowingly, that's built on, well, spiritual outcasts, the niemestri.
Fended by child smugglers like Brolin.
And manipulated by cynical traitors like Cothlayre and Xerxes-Mogan.
All serving a hidden agenda. More in the Second's plan to trigger a civil war in Cresmere. Davair is just the sacrificial pawn, the public face of the failure.
It really shows how these big political schemes aren't always fought on battlefields. Sometimes they're fought in the shadows, in the underworld, fueled by greed and desperation.
Absolutely. It's a stark look at how self-interest, this idea of spiritual decay, and high-stakes politics all intersect. The true cost of ambition, hidden beneath the surface.
And it leaves us with a really interesting point to ponder, doesn't it? For you, the listener.
Right. The coup, Cothlayre's carefully orchestrated plan, it's set for the last day of Ombris. But Davair rides east, not south, arriving 10 days early on the 20th. Why? Was he trying to dodge Mongkut's killers? Or did he suspect Cothlayre too?
And think about Cothlayre. He's already in place. Lieutenant, guarding the Castle of Songs. Does Davair's unexpected early arrival throw a wrench in the works? Or does it actually accelerate Cothlayre's plan, putting the village idiot leader right where Cothlayre can easily dispose of him, maybe even sooner than planned? Is Davair about to inadvertently trigger the endgame himself?
Or is it possible, just maybe, that the Blacksword is finally acting on his own, outside the script written for him by Moran II and Cothlayre? What happens next? That's something to really think about.
Avíla shadowed streets at night, they gathered a band, both fierce and bright. Davair the brave with a heart of gold, yet his followers' hearts were twisted and cold. With a purse full of gold and a glint in his eye, he vowed to break release, to never say die. But behind every cheer, every whispered prayer, of the greed of his men, their secret despair. Oh, Davair spoke company of rogues with noble tales and half-built marks. They marched with plots both wild and grand, a foolish quest in a treacherous land. For gold, for glory, they go to any length, but loyalty and trust were not their strength. There was Cothlayre, sly as a fox, whispering secrets, slipping locks. He'd smile a jest, but behind that grin was a mind full of schemes and a heart full of sin. Searches for goon, a highwayman true, dreamed of a fortune, not loyalty to pursue. He'd sell out his mother if the price was right, but for now he played along in the night. Oh, Davair spoke company of rogues with noble tales and half-built marks. They marched with plots both wild and grand, a foolish quest in a treacherous land. For gold, for glory, they'd go to any length, but loyalty and trust were not their strength. Mongkut the miser, with eyes of green, saw Davair's gold and dreamt a machine. He'd carve out a deal with a blade at his back, no vow of honor, just a plan to attack and pull a son's Christo and Brolin smuggled their secrets in barrels so rotten they whisper of betrayal, of plots within plots. Yet Davair believed in their tangled knots. Oh, Davair spoke company of rogues with noble tales and half-built marks. They marched with plots both wild and grand, a foolish quest in a treacherous land. For gold, for glory, they'd go to any length, but loyalty and trust were not their strength. Through gates of Cresmere they slipped and they snuck, with forged papers and luck. Oh, what strange luck! A castle of songs with whispers so bright, but each step they took deepened the night. Would they say cruelly so fall to their lies in this game of deceit where everyone spies? Company of rogues with noble tales and half-built marks. They marched with plots both wild and grand, a foolish quest in a treacherous land. For gold, for glory, they go to any length, but loyalty and trust were not their strength. So here's to the rogues with plans all askew, in the heart of the night where trust never grew. For Davair was brave, but oh so blind to the greed in his company so far behind. But still they marched through shadow and fog,